Howdy, I'm the Chinese Zodiac Killer arrested by the FBI Terrorist Task Force in 2022 and labeled a cannibal killer. I'm also the frontman for my international touring metal band Penetration. For those of us who love that original metal sound that evolved from the 70s and 80s, we understand that something was lost as metal became more commercialized and watered down in our present era. What a lot of people think of as metal these days is far removed from that original rock and metal sound. Sadly, as we see our icons like Ozzy, Dio, and Eddie Van Halen die, we're witnessing the sources of this original sound vanish into legend, and with them any more music from that original era for our future. And while there are some great bands out there that still do try to capture that pure metal sound and should be commended for keeping the sound as pure as possible, point of fact, if a band or musician didn't live in that era and experience it for themselves, it's still only the next best thing. My band Penetration, in a way, is straight from the 80s and has that original pure metal sound as our foundation. You'll notice I'm a lot younger than it would seem logical for this to be true, but I was there and lived as a diehard fan in those days, and I write all the music in Penetration. You ever see parents that are metal fans or rock fans getting their little kids into metal? In the mid-80s, that was me. My older cousins imprinted these bands so deeply into my brain as a kid, by the time I was probably 8 years old, I was listening to Ozzy Osbourne and wanted to play guitar like Randy Rhoads. I can remember when Metallica was recovering from the loss of Cliff Burton, and when Iron Maiden's latest album was Live After Death. I can remember when Alice Cooper made his comeback in 1986 with Constrictor. I knew what I wanted to be, a heavy metal rock star guitar player. When I was a teenager, I got into the early death metal scene and eventually black metal bands that likewise evolved, but I'm proud to say I've never liked any of the more radio-friendly and commercialized metal sound that evolved to be popular after Metallica's mainstream success. I also have never got into deathcore or metalcore. Now, as a musician and songwriter, my influences are pure and straight from the era of that original metal sound, and because I lived as a diehard fan in those days, despite just being a kid and Penetration not forming until Halloween 2005, that makes Penetration one of the very last metal bands to ever evolve from that original era. So check out my lyrical journey that was my evolution as a metal fan by listening to our song on YouTube by searching Penetration Metalheads Forever, which became the anthem for the largest online heavy metal community in the world of the same name, and features Mark Rain on drums, who played in legendary metal bands Destruction and Morgoth, and features Andy LaRock of King Diamond. Like, share, and subscribe. Check out my past content, and don't touch that dial.